Salutations. Fast blast video coming to you. You know, a couple of days ago I did a video concerning Ray Hernandez and actually the hijacking of the extraterrestrial contactee narrative. And in there I was talking about some of Ray's work from CCRI, the Conscious Contact Research Institute. And these before were free. And one of the newer books, in fact he sent this one to me a while ago, and it's called The Mind of God. And it's really interesting in terms of dealing with what is behind the phenomenon that is contact, behind what is the cryptids, behind OBE especially, and NDE. And the NDE, OBE, and the contact experience are not the separate things that we make them to be. That really these are events of consciousness. And what is the consciousness behind this? And that's what this really deals with, okay? So I think that's really worthy of mentioning. Another book he has is Beyond UFOs, which was from the Institute also. It's a good one too. All right, this has got a lot of the results from the survey, but I talked about that in the other video, so I'm not going to go into that too much. But concerning this book right here, all right, and what the mind of God is, and taking this and comparing this with also what they're calling MACOs, all right, and Ruby Shields calls MACOs, magnetically eternally collapsing objects. I've talked about that in several videos also. Taking those two things, excuse me, and comparing them to a book that I actually don't have my copy. I can't find it. It was eroded anyway. Most of my books, the covers start coming off when you really read books. But this is concerning Carlos Casteneda. Okay, and I've talked about his work in a couple interviews and also a couple of videos. But his books helped me immensely when I was a teenager. Like in the late 80s, early 90s, that helped me a lot. So, very interesting group of material. And this specific book is called The Eagle's Gift by Carlos Casteneda. What I'm going to do is draw a correlation between the Eagle's Gift and this book right here. Okay, The Mind of God. They're talking about the same thing. And when I say that, what is said in this book here, the mind, well, let's actually, yeah, we'll start with the mind of God first, all right? What is being said here is that this is a conscious event and everything, but that also that when we actually die, that we go back, our consciousness goes back, our soul, spirit, goes back to this mind of God, this repository, where we actually deliver all this information that is the information of our soul life, our soul lives, that soul life, and then we get kind of that, we get, and then this is wiped clean. That information is taken and part of this start, part of this repository, and then is we're sent back to incarnate. Okay, which is going to be a matter of choice to a degree, but you're sent back to incarnate devoid of soul life memories so that you can learn again. And you know, that goes slightly contrast to what we might think about some of the soul traps and things that are us being trapped here in the recycling factory. And you know, I used to believe that to a degree, but after doing the regression work I've done, it's proven different. No doubt about that, all right? So anyway, going forward, this is very interesting, and it takes us not into just more the philosophy of consciousness also, but that is the repository. The mind of God is this repository that actually wipes us clean and takes our soul life memories and then allows us to come back. But you know, during the regression work, every time someone has come back, it's been of choice. I've never seen it being forced or by the light or forced by the guides, but anyway, it's always a choice of the soul. So that's very interesting when you start thinking of this, what the repository in this mind of God is. Now, the reason why I want to draw the correlation between that and this Carlos Castaneda book, that is The Eagle's Gift, what Don Juan had told him, the Toltec, he had actually described at the death process the universe being like an eagle, actually. The universe being shaped like an eagle. Sorry, got distracted there. The eagle being actually the universe being shaped like an eagle. And upon death, our souls go into the beak of the eagle and then get wiped clean. That the eagle actually takes our life memories. And that's why they're doing the recapitulation and things like that, so that the eagle will actually take the surface instead of actually taking the soul energy. Okay, so that's kind of a contrast. When you deal with that, and what actually he's calling the eagle is actually the same as what Ray and them are calling the mind of God. All right, when dealing with that, that's the concept is exactly the same. So my point is that the mind of God, as stated in this book by Ray Hernandez and their team, and what Casteneda and the Toltecs are calling the great eagle are the same thing. That we go through the beak of the eagle and it wipes us of our soul life memories, and within the repository of the mind of God actually is a repository in which our soul memory is taken also. All right, and I want to take that and cross that with two things quickly. One is the Makos, and that this is what they're talking about is actually the Mako, and how the Mako actually is the Akashic Records itself. And we've talked about that to a great degree in other videos, so I won't go too much further into that. But it would be the Makos, the hard drive of the universe, that actually is probably where this repository is kept for us, as well as the universe record itself. Now, taking that and kind of trusting that and taking that over to do my work, actually, and what I've told you before that I've encountered during past life regressions, which is the place of translation and reconfiguration. And it's a place that only the guide comes and takes the person to during this process naturally. And it's it can be, it can be many places. It can be either a library, an office, studio, somewhere where there's these ledgers, or I've had other ones that's been a pond. Somebody's looking in water and they'll start seeing the memories coming in their life, coming out of the water, and these memories going back with their intent and their choices. You know, so there's different ways that this place of translation and reconfiguration can appear. But I think that it's actually the Mako, a part of the Mako, and a part of our death process, this mind of God, and also the eagle, the beak of the eagle. That's what I think we're dealing with here. So I think it is pretty cool to, I keep saying that thing, it's cool to put this together and kind of tie this together because it's important. And that's most of it there. The place of translation in correlation with the Makos themselves, with the mind of God, and with the eagle, the beak of the eagle. And this process that we go through the death process, in which we lose our soul life memories and we come back here fragmented, devoided of soul life memories, or the next place we incarnated somewhat devoid of soul life memories. That's purposely done so that we have the chance to evolve and learn. Okay, so it's not this big trap that I kept thinking it was. It's a choice thing going on. I mean, I've seen that in the work, but also through what we're being shown here also. It's fascinating because in some ways, as immortal souls, I've said this before, as immortal souls, our major adversary is boredom. So if you know the ending of every quantum outcome and every quantum possibility, where's the challenge? That's the same as the problem they had in that Voyager with the Q continuum, the Q that wanted to kill itself, because they've been all through the cosmos, forward and backward. It's the same type of a concept. So as immortal souls, we have to avoid boredom. And I'll say this real quick before signing off. When you were a kid, you played hide and go seek, right? And how much after the first time you really knew where everybody's going to be, right? Maybe the second time. But you played it a few more times anyway, a bunch of times more. Why? Because you didn't want to get bored. Food for thought. Please subscribe, press the like button. Thank you people on Patreon. Much love. It's because of them these videos are being made. I appreciate you people on YouTube that have been kind of watching and telling me to go forward, trying to help me break that shadow ban. So please subscribe, hit the bell, and share the video. Peace.